Grassman. Come on, give it up.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Oh, good. I just wanted to make sure you were all still there. Anyway, this is my stand-up comedy debut, and I was so nervous on the way here that I must have gone through 2 or 3 red traffic lights. My husband kept telling me to slow down. When I was in my first year of law school at Hofstra, my friends and I used to screw around with people all the time. Just to get into a car, pull into the parking lot. She'd get into the back seat, I'd come out of the car from behind the steering wheel, and I'd reach in for my dog guide at the time. She'd come on, girl, come on. She'd come out, and I'd bend down, give her a few affectionate pats. Good girl, another day on the road, we survived. The student center at Hofstra could be a really crazy place. For a few weeks, this guy kept barking at my dog every time we went in there. Barking and barking. I was getting really tired of it. So finally I said, I'm going to take care of this right now. I went over to his table, and I asked him very politely, hey, do you lick your balls too? Actually, a few weeks later, his friend came up to me and said, hey, you know what? My buddy still licks his balls. And I said, yeah? And he lets you watch. I actually heard that guy wrote a bestseller last year called 50 Shades of Greyhound. You know, people tell themselves things to make themselves feel better about disability and all sorts of things. For example, I always get this. You know, you're amazing, you blind people. You get better hearing. You really have a real sense of the world around you. It's something that they just tell themselves, you know, feel better about the situation. It's like that other thing that people tell themselves for that other severe disability, you know, size doesn't matter. Listen, if anyone's trolling for a man, look around and see who smiled at that joke. So, you know, it really is not that big of a deal to be blind, especially when you've been blind all your life. It's inconvenient, but it's not tragic. For example, you live on Long Island and you don't drive, it's tremendously inconvenient. And it kind of sucks not to be able to look at my husband or my kids, and it really bothers me that I cannot see these pics that Anthony Weiner keeps sending me. Alright, so I'm going to share something with you that's a little embarrassing, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. People are always asking me, how did you become blind? You're blind since birth? And I say yes, I was. Do they know what happened? You know, was there an accident? Did your parents do serious drugs? Well, that wasn't the reason anyway. But actually, the reason is that I masturbated in my mother's womb. So I lost my womb with a view. Listen, a fetus just can't think outside the box. So when I was pregnant for the first time, I got on the subway one day and these 2 ladies got on. They actually started talking about me. Oh my God, that blind woman is pregnant. And the other one said, do you think she knows? And believe it or not, the other one said, she must have been raped. Yeah, all right. So only a predatory penis would find a blind woman desirable. And you know what? It really tells you about the educational system. Don't these women pay attention in biology? Even a dumbass legislator knows that if a disabled woman is raped, that whole system shuts down. So I gave birth at home to my son because terrible experience I had in the hospital with my daughter when she was born. You know, aside from the pushers they call nurses trying to insist that I take drugs, after my daughter was born, the hospital kind of turned itself upside down because she was blind and we weren't expecting that. So they started doing all these tests and asking me all these questions. The neonatologist came in and said, "Did you take any illicit drugs during your pregnancy?" "No." "Did you sustain a serious injury?" "No." "Were you always intelligent?" I stopped for a second. I said, "You know, now that you ask me, I think my brain started working when the wizard gave me that certificate." So when my daughter was 3 months old, I was walking with her in one of those slings that go over your shoulder, and I was crossing the street on my way to my parents' house, and this woman was crossing in the opposite direction. And she said in this really outraged voice, like I just killed somebody, "You should be arrested for even getting pregnant." So I thought to myself, well, hell, if you get Detective Stabler down here from SVU, I'll take him to the scene of the crime. As long as he cuffs me first. You know, there are just as dumb people on the Long Island Railroad as there are on the subway. I got on the Long Island Railroad one day, they weren't announcing the stops. So I waited a little while, didn't change. Finally I called up, "Excuse me, could someone please tell me where the next stop is?" And this woman in this, very condescending voice, "Baldwin, can't you see the sign?" So I said, "No ma'am, I'm blind." And she said, "You don't look blind." So I said, "Oh, well, you don't sound stupid." Then I was on the platform at Jamaica waiting for the train to Babylon. It comes in, I take my cane, I trail beside to make sure I'm getting in at the door, the entrance. And this woman steps up next to me and she says to me as if I'm two, "That's a train."